Thanks for joining us on Arirang News. I'm Kim Dami in Seoul. South Korea's industrial output fell in May from a month earlier, with retail sales and facility investment losing ground. But exports, including chips, held strong during the same period. Shares of Webtoon Entertainment jumped by as much as 14% on its Nasdaq debut on Thursday. Trading closed with the online comics platform, which is backed by South Korean tech giant Naver, valued at over $2.9 billion. South Korea's girl group NewJeans took over Japan and stole the hearts of 90,000 spectators at its concerts at Tokyo Dome this week. It took them less than 2 years to perform there, the shortest time it took for any K-pop artist. Industrial performance in South Korea for May showed a weak recovery as the figures for output, spending, and investment all dropped. However, exports still saw stable outflow. An Sung-jin leads us this afternoon.
Despite a strong performance in the chip sector, the month of May logged a triple minus for industrial output, production, and investment. According to data from Statistics Korea on Friday, overall industrial production dropped by nearly 1% compared to April. This is largely due to a decline in production in the mining industry, including basic metals and output for materials used to make automobiles, while machinery production also fell. However, production in the semiconductor industry saw its first rebound in 3 months. As production increased, chip exports saw stable outflow, with inventory reduced by 32.8% on year. That resulted in overall manufacturing inventory dropping nearly 10% on year, the largest drop in 15 years. Meanwhile, infrastructure investment fell for the third straight month as investment in transport facilities and mechanical equipment dropped. Domestic consumption has also been slowing down. Retail sales, a key measure of private spending, fell by 0.2%, falling for the second straight month as sales of semi-durable goods such as clothing dropped, even though sales of non-durable goods such as food and durable goods such as cars increased. An official from Statistics Korea, however, noted that with a rebound in consumer sentiment for June, consumer spending for the second quarter may improve. The agency also noted that the drop in figures for May is largely due to a base effect, with the country's industrial output showing a strong improvement last month, and pointed out that with stable exports, the overall performance for April and May are stable. The government pledged to prioritize economic recovery while providing support for sectors seeing weak domestic consumption, such as small business owners. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Semiconductor lobby groups of South Korea and the U.S. on Thursday discussed ways to strengthen cooperation between the two countries in the chip industry. According to Seoul's Industry Ministry on Friday, the U.S.-Korea supply chain and Commercial Dialogue Semiconductor Forum was held in Washington after an agreement in April last year to create an event to explore ways to expand ties in this sector. There, Industry Minister An Deok-keun and U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, along with officials from top chipmakers, Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, Intel, and IBM exchanged ideas on expanding cooperation in various fields of the industry. The Korea Semiconductor Industry Association and the U.S. Semiconductor Industry Association also signed an MOU, agreeing to hold the forum regularly and to seek business partnerships in emerging sectors. Naver Webtoon was listed on the Nasdaq in the U.S. stock market on Thursday, with trading starting at $21.30. That's higher than the upper end of the market range. Lee Seung-ja has more.
Nearly 20 years ago, South Korea's leading portal site, Naver, launched its Webtoon service in South Korea. And since then, Webtoons have emerged as one of the most popular forms of comics around the world, with 170 million people from 150 countries enjoying Naver's Webtoon service. Fast forward to June 27, 2024, Naver Webtoon launched on the Nasdaq on the U.S. stock market. After trading started, the price of a single Naver Webtoon share traded at $21.30, higher than the upper end of the marketed range. The U.S. initial public offering raised $350 million after the first day of trading saw its share prices rise 9.5%, closing at a final trading price of $23. The market cap has risen to $2.9 billion, higher than the company's initial first-day target of $2.7 billion. The growing popularity of Korean webtoons has also seen stories recreated into drama series and movies. Experts predict that the webtoon industry will grow into a $60 billion business by 2030. With the platform easily accessible on smartphones, the vertically scrolled format makes it an easy, quick read for many users. Naver's webtoons are available in 10 different languages as its popularity expands globally. 이승재, Arirang News.
North Korea has been constantly accused for its violation of human rights. Now, to raise awareness of this, the Unification Ministry issued a report detailing the execution of a young man for watching movies and listening to songs from South Korea. Our North Korean Affairs correspondent Kim Jung-soo reports.
In North Korea, those watching South Korean dramas and movies or listening to songs must do so at the risk of their own lives. For the first time, the Ministry of Unification has made public the record of an execution of a person violating North Korea's law on rejecting reactionary thought and culture. Enacted in late 2020, the law bans North Koreans from watching foreign content that the regime believes potentially poses a threat to it. The ministry released its latest report on the human rights situation in North Korea on Thursday, and it included the case of a 22-year-old male being executed for violating the recent law. A defector who witnessed the execution said the young man was put to death for listening to 70 South Korean songs and watching 3 movies, according to charges read out before the sentence was carried out. He was caught in possession of the South Korean material and was also charged with distributing the content to 7 others. New testimony from 141 North Korean defectors this year, added to that from 508 defectors in 2023, confirms the continuity of North Korea's human rights violations. 2 defectors, a mother and her daughter in her 20s, came to the South late last year and spoke to reporters on the same day the report was released. They said they had to escape the North because they were on the verge of death due to a financial crisis and extreme surveillance and interference by some younger watchdog members of the regime's Workers' Party. Actor Yoo Ji-tae was named an ambassador for promoting North Korean human rights.
About 20 years ago, I was filming a movie based on a North Korean novel, and when I was in Mount Kumgang for shooting, the staff from the South and North were using the same language, but it felt so different that it made me feel sad. I later learned that there are serious issues regarding North Korean human rights. I want to do everything in my power to help.
The ministry plans to promote the report to raise awareness both inside and outside South Korea. Kim Jung-sil, Arirang News.
The National Assembly on Thursday held a plenary session to elect the remaining leadership posts of standing committees, finalizing a formation of the 22nd National Assembly after a month-long wrangling. Our political correspondent Shin Ha-young has the details.
After weeks of bipartisan wrangling, the rival parties have finally decided on how to run the 22nd National Assembly for the next 2 years. The Assembly held a plenary session on Thursday to select the 7 remaining Assembly Committee chiefs, as well as a Deputy Speaker from the ruling People Power Party.
The plenary session was called through an agreement between the rival parties. We apologize to the public for the concern caused by the delay in forming the committees.
All 7 committees among 18 are now chaired by the PPP lawmakers, including Kim Seok-gi, who will lead the Foreign Affairs and Unification Committee.
In foreign affairs and security, there's no party divide. As committee chair, I'll address pending issues, focusing on national interests and policies to enhance South Korea's global role.
The PPP on Monday accepted the 7 standing committee chair positions proposed by the main opposition Democratic Party, which holds the majority. It is customary to divide the 18 standing committee chair positions in proportion to the number of seats held by each party, which would make it 11 for the DP and 7 for the PPP. The PPP had been calling for negotiations on which party would chair the Legislation and Judiciary Committee, as it is a key assembly panel with the power to approve bills before they are put to a plenary vote. However, the DP refused and unilaterally voted to take the position 2 weeks ago, along with other 10 parliamentary committee chiefs. During the plenary session on Thursday, lawmakers elected a 6th-term legislator Ju Ho-young as one of the 2 deputy speaker posts set aside for the ruling party. The DP's Lee Ha-kyun took on the position 3 weeks ago amid the PPP's boycott of the vote, which claimed that the session was held without a bipartisan agreement on its agenda. With Thursday's plenary session, the formation of the first half of the 22nd National Assembly concluded 28 days after it commenced its 4-year term. Now that the parliament is ready to return to work at full scale, a 3-day Q&A session on matters of national interest is scheduled to start on Tuesday. 신하영, Arirang News.
U.S. President Joe Biden and his Republican rival Donald Trump held their first election debate of this year's presidential campaign on Thursday evening local time at CNN's headquarters in Atlanta. Moderated by CNN's Jake Tapper and Donna Bash, the 90-minute debate kicked off at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The debate started with the topic of the economy, with Biden accusing Trump of leaving him with a terrible economy, to which Trump criticized Biden's handling of the economy over the COVID period. The candidates continued to slam each other's records on abortion rights, immigration, and foreign policy, as Trump denied being responsible for the January 6 Capitol riots, while Biden called Trump a convicted felon. Now, the debate has left political analysts with concerns about a rise in the number of so-called double haters. They are voters who do not like either candidate. This was the first of 2 debates scheduled ahead of the November 2024 election. Over in Japan, Tokyo is captivated by K-pop group NewJeans. The group performed to more than 90,000 fans this week at the Tokyo Dome. Our Choi Soo-hyung reports.
K-pop girl group NewJeans entertained over 90,000 fans at Japan's Tokyo Dome. The group's agency Adore said on Friday that around 91,000 people came to their concerts. Bunny's Camp 2024 Tokyo Dome held on Wednesday and Thursday. Adore also said that NewJeans' concert in the Tokyo Dome, coming just 1 year and 11 months after their debut, makes them the fastest K-pop artists to perform there. Tokyo Dome is known as a dream stage even for Japanese singers, and American pop star Taylor Swift performed there in February. Other K-pop artists who have performed at Tokyo Dome include BTS, aespa, and 17. NewJeans sang over 20 hit songs including Attention, Cookie, ETA, and How Sweet. They expressed that it was an honor and joy to perform on such a big stage at the Tokyo Dome with fans from around the world. The group's pop-up store in Shibuya was also packed with fans, and reservations to enter were fully booked. Meanwhile, NewJeans' Japanese debut single Supernatural, released on the 21st, has been in the top ranks of the Oricon Singles Charts, the most authorized music chart in Japan, for a week. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
New York City's Times Square is known for its bright lights and bustling crowds, but on Wednesday, traditional Korean music and dance took center stage. Our cultural correspondent Song Yoo-jung reports from New York.
Surrounded by giant billboards and towering buildings, the distinct sound of traditional Korean instruments being played, the gwangwari and taepyeongso, filled the air. Musicians not only play, but dance to their music. The stage? One of the world's busiest crossroads, Times Square. This is the National Kugak Center's Korean folk music performance, Pangut.
This is my 4th time at Times Square, but it's my first time performing here instead of just sightseeing. It feels really special, and I hope that by performing in front of so many people today, we can help spread Korean culture.
The show is a kickoff event counting down to the official opening of the New York Korea Center. Described by the Culture Ministry as a comprehensive hub of Korean culture, the Korea Center brings together the overseas branches of the Korean Cultural Center, Korea Tourism Organization, Korea Creative Content Agency, and the King Sejong Institute under one roof. Currently, there are 5 branches in Los Angeles, Shanghai, Tokyo, Beijing, and Paris. With just a day until the center's opening, the Culture Ministry partnered with the National Kugak Center for the Pangut performance to raise awareness and boost excitement.
It was actually very cool and very unique. We never seen before, so we're just standing and kind of cool. It's something different, and people should know about the traditions because a lot of people, they are not familiar with the indigenous traditions, and also introducing something like that, it's really nice.
Yeah.
the stage is set and the excitement here is palpable, as you can see. All that's left now is the grand opening of the New York Korea Center this Thursday night here in Manhattan. Song Yujin, Arirang News, New York.
The 32nd annual meeting of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC, set to be held in South Korea next year, will be hosted by Gyeongju City. Park Kwon-woo tells us more.
Gyeongju City, former capital of the Silla Kingdom and home to some of Korea's most important historical sites, has been selected as the host city for the annual meeting of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation next year. Gyeongju was reported to be evaluated highly for its historical value and cultural aspects, beating its rivals, including Jeju and Incheon. Hosting the event is likely to bring economic benefits to the city. An analysis by Gyeongbok Development Institute said an economic effect of some 1.4 trillion Korean won, or over $1 billion, is expected to be created in Gyeongsangbuk-do province, where Gyeongju is located. With around 200 meetings, including summits between 21 countries and ministerial meetings to be held during APEC 2025, around 500,000 domestic and foreign visitors are expected to visit Gyeongju.
Los Cabos in Mexico was once a small city with a population of only 70,000, but has been transformed into a tourist city of 340,000 through APEC. As we have been given the opportunity, we will make sure to take advantage of it.
Gyeongju has pledged to prepare thoroughly for the event.
We will form an APEC preparatory support group and establish optimal infrastructure for facilities including conference halls, accommodation, and media. We will also provide operational support for protocol, transportation, cultural tourism, and medical personnel.
APEC 2025 is set to be held in November next year. This will be the first time since Busan in 2005 that the APEC summit will be held in South Korea. Park Kwon-woo, Arirang News.
The gist of the game at this year's Busan Mobility Show is going green with electric vehicles and making them more accessible to the general public. Our Moon Hae-ryun went there and follows this report.
The Busan International Mobility Show is one of the country's biggest motor events, and it's the first time that it's been rebranded from the Busan International Motor Show, featuring other modes of transport such as urban air mobility vehicles and autonomous driving boats. But cars remain in the spotlight, with several new releases on the press day prior to the event opening to the public on Friday. With electric vehicles becoming increasingly more popular, the new reveals at this year's show are centered around more affordable and accessible models, such as this car behind me. Hyundai Motor showcased its Casper electric model for the first time to meet the demand for low-cost EVs following its success with the IONIQ 5 and 6.
The popularization of EVs will only become possible if anyone can enjoy the various experiences that they provide easily and at a reasonable cost. So today we unveil the new standard for the EV era, the Casper Electric.
Another car designed for the everyday driver is its new all-electric Mini Cooper, an electric version of its classic Mini Cooper model. Fitted with OLED display screens from Samsung Display, the British automotive brand has put a modern twist on its traditional circular dash that's also paired with voice-activated controls. Luxury vehicle brand Genesis Motor also unveiled its newly minted electrified G80, which features several new aspects that elevate the experience for both driver and passenger. A single button enables the driver to open and close the fuel door without needing to get their hands dirty, and the vehicle itself is bigger to give more room in the back.
Due to the new design of the wheel, which made improvements to drag force crucial for EVs, the new electrified G80 can now go around 475 kilometers on one charge, nearly 50 kilometers more than the former model.
BMW also presented its high-end cars, the new high-performance M4 model as well as the all-electric new iX2. But the scale of the Busan International Mobility Show has declined over the past few years, with the number of visitors falling by around 27% over the last 8 years, alongside a slowdown in the EV industry.
Consumers are now familiar with EVs, so they know what they want to look for in terms of features and price. This means that there's more of a monopoly in the market where popular EVs are doing well and others aren't.
With the event now focusing on more interactive booths as opposed to new releases to enable a more hands-on experience for visitors and showing other future mobility trends, eyes are on whether this could change the face of the show. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News, Busan.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. Iranians go to the polls on Friday to choose their new president following the death of President Ibrahim Raisi in a helicopter crash last month. 4 candidates are vying for the presidency, with current Parliament Speaker Mohammad Kalibaf and former nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili, both with military ties, seen as the frontrunners. The lone reformist candidate is Masoud Pezeshkian, a cardiac surgeon who has called for greater international outreach for the improvement of Iran's economy. He has been criticized by ultimate power holder Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, who says even mildly reformist ideas are unacceptable for Iran. With the average age of the candidates at 63 years old, observers are predicting minimal change to Iran's political structure from the election. The new Iranian president will be able to provide counsel and influence to Khamenei, who is 85 years old, especially in choosing his possible successor. Results are expected to start coming out as early as Saturday. The Bolivian government announced on Thursday the arrest of 17 people allegedly involved in Wednesday's attempted coup d'etat led by a former army chief. General Juan José Zuniga and former Navy Vice Admiral Juan Salvador were arrested on Wednesday and remain in custody, while one civilian, Anibal Aguilar Gomez, arrested on Thursday, was identified by a senior cabinet member as the apparent mastermind of the failed coup. The lawmaker said the alleged conspirators began making their plans in May, while no information was given on the 15 others arrested. The South American nation of 12 million people witnessed chaos in the capital La Paz on Wednesday, as military forces surrounded government buildings with armored vehicles and tanks before the intense situation was resolved without bloodshed. In Slovakia, at least 6 people have been killed after an international express train collided with a bus on a level crossing. At around 5 p.m. local time Thursday, near the town of Nowe Zamki, about 80 kilometers east of the capital Bratislava, the train traveling from Prague to Budapest collided with the bus at a level crossing. All casualties were passengers on the bus, which officials said was sliced in half at impact. A spokesperson from the Slovak Rescue Services confirmed that about 200 people were on the train and 9 were on the bus at the time. While the exact reason behind the collision is yet to be confirmed, some Slovak media reported that the level crossing lights and barriers might not have been functioning due to a recent storm. And for our final story of the week, we go to the U.S. state of Illinois, where a giant sinkhole opened up in a sports field on Wednesday, swallowing some 30 meters of the pitch, as well as a large light pole. While no injuries were reported at the field at Alton's Gordon Moore Park, the director of the Alton Parks and Recreation Department said that the hole was at least 30.5 meters wide and up to 15.2 meters deep. New Frontier Materials Bluff City, a limestone mining firm in the area, confirmed that the sinkhole resulted from surface subsidence at its underground mine in Alton. The surrounding areas have been indefinitely closed. Kim Seong, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. Monsoon rain takes a break today and the sweltering heat sets in. Southern provinces could see highs going nearly 5 degrees higher this afternoon to the low 30s again, while the capital will be hotter today with higher humidity. Most of Korea will be basking under blazing sunshine, but there could be passing rain during the day in eastern parts of the country along with thunderstorms. Seoul and Chuncheon could go up to 33 degrees Celsius this afternoon. Daejeon and Daegu will be topping out at 32 degrees under strong UV rays. Now, monsoon season starts tomorrow in central regions. Rain will start from Jeju tomorrow at dawn, gradually spreading nationwide. It will rain in the capital from tomorrow night. Monsoon rain could lash down on most of Korea, pouring more than 100 millimeters into Sunday. And it's going to rain through the first week of July, so please take the weather into account and plan accordingly for the upcoming week. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
That's all we have at this hour. Arirang News will be back at 2 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.